Hey church, Brandon and Lauren Davis here. Today we get to speak to you about 2 Timothy 1:7 and releasing fear. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and sound judgment.
Yeah. And today, this verse is our life, and it is a lot of days. So we are recording this video pretty late at night after setting up our house to welcome 2 new kids. We are blessed to be able to participate in foster care and serve children who need homes in our county and show them the love of Christ. But if we said that that didn't come with fear, we would be lying. It's scary, and we'll be on edge until tomorrow when they get here and probably past that. But I think that it's so beautiful that Paul points out here in this message to Timothy in his last days, that he's saying, you know, fear is not of Christ, and God didn't give you that. Like, that's not something that comes from him, and that fear, it comes from the enemies, and we've seen that in our own life. And looking back over our journey with Jesus and how we have grown as a couple and as a family, we can see how fear has hindered us in the things that we have done and the things that Jesus has called us to. It has caused pretty significant delays in our callings because we didn't feel like we were equipped. We didn't feel like we were the smartest or the best for that job, and we didn't feel like we had the capability to do the things. And it was that fear that the enemy was putting in front of us each day, and we were feeling like we were not capable of doing that work. And we're doing a Bible study at home, and we're kind of doing the Bible in a year, and we were looking through Exodus the other day and reading in chapter 31. And this verse kind of stood out to me. It says when they're talking about the skilled workers and they're getting everything with the tabernacle put together, he says, "I have put wisdom in the heart of every skilled artisan in order to make all that I have commanded of you." And that is such peace. That's peace that passes the understanding that we can have, to know that the things that we need to do and the things that we need to have within us for what he's called us to, he's given us. They're there, and they have been there. We just have to tap into that.
Yeah, and I mean, also tap into the power. I mean, he's telling us right here that we've got a spirit of power. And in John 14:12, I mean, you can see that says, "I tell you the truth, anyone who believes in me will do the same works I have done, and even greater works." And man, that speaks, that's power in just words. And just shows that he puts the power in us, and then it goes into love. And in 1 John 4:18, you see that perfect love drives out fear.
Yeah, and that perfect love of Christ, if we're focusing on that, it's not to say that fear is not there, because it is, and we have that, but when we're in tune with him, I think that perfect love that he gives us, it does drive out that fear. And then he wraps up this verse talking about sound judgment, that we are given sound judgment, and sometimes we don't feel that way, and sometimes it's clouded by lots of things, right? By our own self. Yeah, our own self-doubt, our abilities to be able to do things the way that we feel like they should be done. It kind of clouds that sound judgment. But if we're continually focused on Christ and the power and the love that he gives us, then I think that we can accomplish much more than we think.
Yeah, and like she said, it's late, so I guess I want to just leave you with this, and just remember that God does not call the equipped, he equips the called.
Thanks, guys.